Hello, I am Jennifer of Jen and Coco. I hope you all are having a wonderful day today, because we are going to be talking more about our Flaunal avian language and culture, particularly in terms of looking at family systems and some of the honorifics and some of those things today. So I hope you all are ready for that, because we're diving in. Okay, so where we left off last week, if I recall correctly, so yes, we were looking at this chart here, or we glanced at this chart here, and I realized that trying to look at all three gender systems together for lineage is going to make things complicated and isn't really accurate for how we're going to be looking at our familial structure as far as like lineages go. There's kind of two things we need to look at. We need to look at the how inheritance is passed down, and we've already mentioned that that's going to be mostly through our green here, which is our Flaunal side. So that's how we're gonna have our lineage passed down through our Flaunal side. But we also have our paternal and maternal lines through our avian sides of our mating trio, and so those are going to be kind of those lineages systems are going to care more about who you can and cannot who you can and cannot marry or mate with. Let's put it that way. So we're going to nuke this for a moment. We're going to start off looking at there we go. We're actually just going to completely delete those rows and we'll restart fresh. Okay, so we have our right now. Let's look at let's start with an easy either one. So we have you. And right now, we'll just say we're us. It doesn't matter what we are right now. We're going to start by looking just at the avian side of our lineage. Because this is going to affect who you can and cannot be related to, as far as for the avians care about. It's going to be slightly different for the plant species, but I'll get to that in a moment. But the avian, so yeah, actually, let me establish what I'm thinking. So, actually, yeah, let's start with the Flaunal side. That's actually going to be easier now that I'm trying to think about it. So yeah, so we have you. And above you, you would have your parent. And to the sides of them, you would have your siblings. I might need a different program to draw this out in. Let me just open a version of Paint real quick. That might be a little bit easier. Not ideal, but easier. So I can draw arrows easily. Doo-ba-doo. Give me one moment on this, please. Okay, and you should be able to see it now. Okay, so we're gonna do. So one thing I've seen is so we're gonna do. We'll have circles representing. We'll do pentagons representing our Flaunal side. So this is you. You can't drag and drop in there, but we can just select. Okay, oh boy, it's been a moment since I've used Paint. So yeah, we have you. Ta-da. Above you, we're going to have your parent. Let me redo this for a moment. Paint's not my best choice, but it's what was easy to open. Okay. You. Okay. This might actually work now. There we are. Ta-da. Awesome. This is the one. So above you, we have your parent. This is going to be essentially your home growing up. So this is going to be this is the Flaunal creature that you were raised, that your initial formal years were inside their nest. You're one of their fruits. Literal fruits of the loin. Ooh, so turn on caps lock, okay. And so from here, so we have this lineage here. However, we'll also have, and then you'll have, let's say above that, I'll quickly just drag these down a moment. Yeah, and above your parent, you would have your grandparent. Your direct relation in. So, and we're going to keep using the English terms for the time being, just because that is what I know, that is what's easy to describe with for the moment, and we don't currently have any other terms. So, you would also have siblings, or, sorry, your parents would also have siblings. It would actually be highly unlikely for them not to have siblings, just as things go right now. And I'm going to have to redraw those arrows. Okay, good to know. And those siblings may be older or younger than your parent. And I think how lineage is going to work, because we're looking primarily at parentage, or at inheritance here. So I think all Flaunal creatures of a Flaunal creatures are going to live with their parents. So you're going to wind up with a large household of a lot of related Flaunal creatures. So in this case, you would have, and let me also add, you also would have siblings as well. And you would probably have more than just, there'd probably be more than just 3 siblings on each tier, but we're just doing this for simplicity right now, just to show things. With my wonderful drawings here. Okay. So, with from this system, all these people would be living under the same roof. You would have there, trying to get a good way to there. all these people would be living under the same roof. Or, I'm using roof relatively here speaking. You would live with your parent would live with their grandparents, and thus you would all live together with all your siblings and all your parents' siblings and all your grandparent and all their siblings and such. And so on and so on. The head of the household, however, will pass through the oldest Flaunal creature's line. So, for instance, right now, this would be the head of household, and their oldest Flaunal creature would be the next head of household as well. So it would be one of your cousins would wind up being the next head of household, as it were. And I can just show that briefly. Let me extend these lines. Oh, that's not the button I wanted. That's the button I wanted. So we're getting beautifully drawn lines here. Woo! Never have I seen such beautifully drawn lines. And so, and we will put a star next to the heads of household, just to denote them. So yeah, you'll see that head of household passes through the oldest lineage. So in this, and so the only way for someone to become a new head of household would be to leave and to start a new house elsewhere. And that's kind of how you get. And while those houses would still be related houses, but that'd be the only way to essentially secure inheritance, as it were. Which is kind of a way that as families start to grow larger and larger, as there's too much, and like more room is, and there's less room to hold people, that is just a natural way to help ease some of that tension, and as that just the younger ones may just move out on their own to start their own households, find their own space and such, so that way, which will prevent the households from getting too large. That said, though, it is likely there is an incentive to stay in with a household because there's already land, resources, everything's kind of already established, and so maintaining that and helping maintain that does secure some of your own security, your stability, especially if you are part of a particularly influential household. Then there is no reason, there's less reason for you to want to leave because there's a certain privilege with being part of the household you're part of. So, excuse me. This is what I'm imagining for our Flaunal side of our lineage system. Let's save this real quickly. Recall this. Now, I might be tempted to make a more refined version of this later on, but for right now, this is getting the job done. So, we'll just call this Flaunal lineage. And I could be wrong, but I believe the system for this is called a ramage. I am not 100% certain on that. This is from my quick research I've done prior to this episode. whatever it is, this is, and also like I'm not sure if ramage would fit here either because we're completely excluding looking at any of the avian lines. We are only looking at our Flaunal line, as it were. It's certainly Flaunilineal, which is a weird word to say. You should expect it to be matrilineal or patrilineal, not Flaunilineal. But regardless, Flaunilineal is very much, you trace your household, or your household is very much through your Flaunal side. The reason why I think it might be considered ramage is because when the avian sides will mate into these households and kind of join every part of that aspect. So we're going to go back to our other. So we're going to remove the coloring on here for a moment. Doo-ba-doo. No fill. Okay, awesome. So we have you, and now let's look at our avian side. So you would have your. Actually, nope, we're going to go back to paint, because that might be a quicker way to do this. So, we're going to use circles for female and squares for male. So, let's just say we have a pair of siblings at the bottom, we have a pair of siblings, nestmates, that we're going to track everything, or trace everything from. So they would have parents. Sure. They would have a mother, and they would have a father. So they would have a mother and father. And they would also have. Why am I blanking up where shapes are? A grandmother's and grandfathers. Doop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doo. I want text tool. There we are. So one thing to think about is like what sort of kinship system we want to follow as far as like naming conventions and those sort of things. And I believe looking at either the Iroquois or the Sudanese system would be important, or would be the way to go, where your immediate family gets a particular set of terms, and then your extended families, where your immediate family has a lot of terms, and that you care a lot about your immediate family as far as things go, but then your extended families get different sorts of terms as well. Okay, and so I'm just going to go with a traditional looking system where we have I should probably draw who they marry as well, or their mates. Okay, and now all the lines. Okay. And these people would, of course, have their own children. I'm not going to draw those right this moment. Although I probably will in a moment as well. So, if you have your... So from here, you would have, so you would have your parents, you'd have your siblings, and you would have your grandparents as well. You would also have all your things, and I believe we're going to go with a more Sudanese system where you're going to track terminology across all of it. One thing I have not decided whether and how we're going to track or not is if we're going to track cross and parallel cousins or not as much, or like how much those are going to have different terms. I think I want to do that just because it sounds interesting. I haven't done it much. I haven't done it yet. I haven't actually worked with kinship systems a whole lot at all, honestly. So this is fairly new ground for me, despite it having looked into it before. But I think we'll follow more of the Sudanese system, where there's kind of unique word terms for for most of the relationships to you. So there would be a specific term for like a maternal aunt and a paternal, or a maternal aunt and a maternal uncle versus a paternal aunt and a paternal uncle, and so forth. I don't think I want to go so far that every single relation to you is going to have its own specific term. However, I do think there's going to be a lot of not a lot of overlap, but a lot of maintaining. I don't know where I was going with that. I don't think I'm gonna have a lot of. I don't think I'm gonna have a unique term for every single relation to you. However, I don't want to have a lot of big classificatory terms as well, because I'm not gonna just have everyone who is vaguely related to you of your generation and lower, or vaguely related to you is a cousin. I'm going to try and avoid that to a certain degree as well. So that there's some... The terms will have some encoding of how they're related to you, specifically. Or like, through which line they're related to you to some degree. So that way you can find... And all this is just to point out of the... How do you track who you're related to and who is eligible for marriage and not. Eligible for mating. So, yeah, this is our basic start right here. Now let's hop back over to this, and we'll kind of just roughly lay things out. I'm not sure how best to put this in an Excel document. Excel's not exactly made for doing lineage systems, so we may not do that right now. We may save that for later. That said, we can start looking into honorifics. So, let's start looking into those. Particularly, let's start with family. Like, what sort of terms do we want to denote? Let's do just honorifics and titles. So, let's start with familial lines, or with familial terms we want to denote. We definitely want to denote mother and father. I hope just in case I haven't made it clear, I hope it's clear why I'm thinking about doing the systems how I am. So, the cultural significance of this. The mating pair will find each other, and then they will find the mating. Then they will find their third, the Flaunal portion of their mating trio. So, so first the avian pair first needs to find out who are they. Or let's say you are a young avian creature in the society. First, you need to figure out who is eligible for you to mate with. Then you go through the mating rituals, you pick mates pick each other, and then now that they're mates, they need to go they need to go home shopping, house hunting, as it were, and find a Flaunal creature to live with. And following that, they will then live with that Flaunal creature for the rest of their lives. And be a part of that Flaunal creature's household. So, you will have... So the importance of this is that the importance of this is that your parents will find... Who your parents are will dictate who is eligible for mating, as far as like the avian side of things go. The Flaunal side of things will pretty much dictate your wealth, where you live, how well you live, influence, and power. Mating, to my knowledge right now, or to my understanding right now, I don't think mating pairs have... Mating pairs don't bring with them an inherent power when they find mates. At least at this point, I don't see like a dowager system, or not dowager. That's not the right term. Dowry. Woo. That's a bit different from dowager. Whew, okay. I don't see like a dowry system or anything like that forming at this point. Just because there is no... well, I'm gonna say because the avian side of things, the avian sides of these trios don't bring with them any inheritance. However, as I say that, I realize that, like, to my understanding, in old Europe, where I am with dowry systems, the women didn't always bring with them or didn't necessarily hold the land. It was given with them as part of the marriage, as part of the allowance for marriage. I'm not sure how that would evolve in this culture, especially considering the historical nature of these birds, of the birds mated first, and then picked a plant to live in, and to protect them. So it's an interesting thing to consider, how like a dowry system or something like that might evolve, especially as a way to promote alliances or trading of wealth between households. It's something I'll keep a mind on. Yeah, we'll consider evolution of dowries, which those would actually get really interesting with 3 different households potentially being involved. That said, it is possible for less households to be involved, but there will always be at least 2 households involved. It's just possible that one of the avian species comes from, or one of the avian creatures comes from the same household as the Flaunal creature. It is possible. Not likely, but possible. So, going back to terms that we're going to want to denote specifically. Mother, father, brother, sister, oh, hold on, let me also, hold on, let's nuke this for a moment, because I realized I forgot one. We need a Flaunal parent, mother, father. Flaunal. Actually, hold on, let's actually move up a little bit. All right. So we want. So for every, there's going to be a term for every. There's going to be 3 terms for every one of these. So parent, you're going to have a Flaunal, maternal, and paternal term. You have siblings. Actually, we're going to have as I mentioned earlier, we're going to have this thing considered close siblings, which are the siblings that you specifically grew up in a nest with. So for an avian creature, typically there would be a Flaunal creature and a handful of avian creatures, potentially like, we'll say 2 to 5 right now, potentially. Somewhere between there as like how many close siblings you would have. So familial, also you have your parental terms, your terms for your close siblings, your terms for your other siblings. Including, actually, probably terms for older siblings. No, it makes sense to have terms for older and younger siblings. At least for... It would make sense to have ones for older Flaunal siblings and younger Flaunal siblings. I don't know if we're going to have ones for... I don't know if there would be age terms for non-Flaunal siblings, since those siblings cannot, or do not, carry with them inheritance. It would simply a matter of age for those. So, you would have your familial, your parent, close siblings, older Flaunal siblings, younger Flaunal siblings, or older siblings, younger siblings. I'm not sure yet on that. It's something I would need to put more thought into. So that's your immediate family. We'll look at younger generations later, kids and such. Actually, no, we should go ahead and start thinking about those right now. We're gonna have, children. So, you're going to have a term for children. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so this is already a lot of terms, because you have 3 for parents, 3 for close siblings, 3 for children. So that's 9. Not even getting into siblings that aren't or for other siblings that weren't your specific nestmates. And that's just for your immediate family. Oh, and spouses, of course. Oh my, this is going to be a lot of terminology here. But this is part of why I wanted to figure this out now, because I knew there would be potentially a lot of terms, and I want these kind of baked into the language, especially with how honorifics and titles eventually come to work out. So let's just look at, yeah, well, Control X. So we have close family there. Next we have extended family. So you would have grandparents. First you'd have, Flaunal grandparent. Since this is going to be an interesting thing of it is known that it takes 2 Flaunal creatures to make 1 Flaunal creature. Just because that's just how the process works. That said, you're not going to, because of just how it works, you're not necessarily going to know who. You're only going to know the one that specifically fruited you. You're not going to know the pollen donor, as it were. Which is why, whenever I'm looking at this, I'm only looking at 1 Flaunal ancestor in each lineage. I'm not looking at multiples because there's not going to really be a way to tell who your other Flaunal parent is. So let's see, Flaunal grandparent. Let's look at specifically. So Flaunal grandparent. Maternal grandparents. Paternal grandparents. Okay, and these are going to be divided into 2. You're a feminine and masculine form, and a feminine and masculine form of this. Maternal. It's just a collective term for aunts and uncles, or we'll just say here, mother's siblings, or here, actually. Doo-ba-doo-ba-doo-ba-doo. Older Flaunal hold on. Aha, older parentals, older Flaunal siblings, parental younger Flaunal siblings. There we are. And then Avian parental siblings. And this may also be divided into close siblings and such. Although I'm not certain on that. Let's see, so avian parental siblings, yeah, this is a lot of terminology. We're going to go back over to the proving grounds, because I want to write all this out for a moment, just kind of getting a sense of where everything will be. Okay. So, let's start with you. You're a Flaunal creature in this society. Above you, you would have your a Flaunal parent, a so you'd have a Flaunal parent and a feminine parent and a masculine parent. Okay, so you'd have a mother, a father, and a house. And then you would also have, so this would be your immediate family. You would also have, you would have your close siblings. So you have a close sister and a, so yeah, these would be your nestmates. And a close brother. And these are, again, all close relations to you. These are all your same family line. Again, within this family line, you might have other siblings. So you would have, let's see, older brother, sister, older sibling. We're just going to call it that. We're going to try to use neutral terms for the Flaunal creatures for the moment. And you would also definitely have a, or you would likely, it is possible you would have a younger sibling as well, who is also Flaunal. And it's also possible you would have a sister. I don't think that those would get the younger or older terminologies, just because I don't. It's not important on those relations, whether they're younger or older. I guess if they do get a term, it would be something relating to that sibling's, to being that sibling's nestmate, but that would be about it. So there are options for considering them older or younger, but I'm not certain that those are going to be actual terms. So, whew, these are a lot of terms. Now, remembering that these two for sister and the two for brother here would be the same, but everything else here is a unique term, as I way move that around in the wrong spot. Okay. Ooh, you would have to specifically mark Flaunal siblings of your older and younger siblings, too. Oh, that's gonna get real complicated real quickly. And you would have to mark your own oldest and youngest Flaunal siblings. Okay. So, we have these terms here. And this is just immediate family. Ooh, okay. So, however, this would play out many, 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 many times. We're going to move this here for right now. So let's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. So I should move that there. If I move it there as well, oh, that's not what I meant to do. Okay, let's do this. That should work, and that should work. There we are. And I'll adjust the terms in a moment. There, we can fit it all on one page. Awesome. And I'm going to draw a specific line here to the left of this, and to the right of this to denote, hey, this is your, we're looking at our immediate family here, whereas this is going to be a maternal aunt. Oh, technically I should have more of these. Oh boy, yeah, let's just look at, okay, let's look at just the maternal side right now. So this is going to be us. So, maternal aunt, maternal uncle, maternal uncle. That's the term we'll use right now. So we're looking at just your maternal side right now. As this gets really large really quickly. Okay. Okay, we're going to redraw this. We're going to draw it vertically. I think that's going to be an easier way to do this. Actually, I should be able to just do this, hopefully. Okay. Fingers crossed this is going to work. Ta-da! That's what I want to have happen. Awesome. Now this I can work with. Okay. This might be a little bit harder to look at, but it's going to save up a lot of space in the long run, so it's worth it. Doop-a-doo, ba-doop-a-doo. Delete. That's not quite what I meant to have happen. I think it'll be easier if I do this a couple times. Awesome. So we have Gen 0. We have your generation. You have Gen -1. And Gen -2 relative to you. Okay. There we are, and actually here's what we're going to do. So this is you. This is your immediate family here. We're going to just put that in a box for the moment. This is your maternal aunt up here. I think we'll, yeah. Maternal aunt, maternal uncle, I want to note who... Okay, hold on. This is... I should have some slightly different terminology, so we're actually going to... Alright, let's nuke those terms for a moment. So maternal aunt, maternal uncle. Oh, I need a third one of these. Okay, hold up. This gets really complicated. This is where having 3 different sets of relations is going to get complicated real quickly. Okay. Because you also have your maternal uncle. Oh boy. There's a lot going on here. Hello. There. That'll help delineate these 3 families. So yeah, these are 3 unique terms. And actually this would be Or to denote older or younger. Or yeah. Because that would matter, but it's not worth drawing a whole new thing for. Technically I should. Because it could potentially put different terms on here. Yeah, that would make sense. If we're following some of these. So technically you should have 4 of these. Oh boy, okay. Once more. Older maternal uncle and younger maternal uncle. I don't know how much these terms actually matter, because as far as you're concerned, they're not part of your inheritance system. They also are not technically important as far as who you're able to marry and not, for the avian side of things, but I don't see a reason to not distinguish them at this point. I could see it being possible that they're not distinguished, but I don't see a strong case against distinguishing them at this point. Okay. So then we would also have the same thing. Yeah, family trees get very large very quickly in this society. Oh my. So this is one thing I had considered before, and now I'm thinking is definitely going to be a thing, is that it's going to be like a job of some of the, it's going to be a specific job keeping track of lineages. I'm thinking that that is going to be the Flaunal head of household's job, to at least keep track of the Flaunal lineage. However, for the avian lineages, that is definitely a whole job to keep track of. Oh my. I could see written records evolving specifically to keep track of lineages. So, paternal aunt, paternal uncle, younger paternal uncle, and your paternal uncle. Okay. And we haven't even done the ones the third one of these for those related to your Flaunal side. Which actually I have an idea. I think that those are going to get drawn above. There we are. Oh, I should have just copied, not cut. Oh well. There we are. So now these are going to be your, we'll say parental here. Okay. So these are all terms. So yeah, and actually, hold on, let's go through trying to nuke these for a moment. Because is these are all different types of cousins. Okay. So, let's start with the parental side of things. For relation to you, and I think these are going to be the same regardless of whether you are Flaunal or Avian of either gender. So, actually, one thing I can do to decrease the size of these, I don't think I need to have our 3 distinctions here. There's just I think there just needs to be a distinction between... I think for these there are going to be more absolute distinctions between oldest and youngest. Or oldest and not, just because that's all that's going to matter as far as like lineages go. So you have... So I think I'm actually going to... Okay, we'll simplify these somewhat then. We'll delete that. That didn't quite do what I would have hoped it would. Okay, awesome. Great to know. Oh, it's going to get complicated fixing this, but it'll look much nicer when I do. Kind of. How do I want to do this? No, I think we're going to leave it like this for the moment. I might have a distinction for youngest, or those specifically younger than you, maybe. We'll see. But let's see. Okay, so first you would have your... Oh, boy. And I don't know how these terms might change if you marry in as well. Like, that's a whole different thing that I haven't even looked at yet. We're looking at just ones related to you by blood, not by marriage. So, first we'll have... Parental Aunts' daughter. Oh boy, okay. Okay, and then older parental uncle's daughter. Younger parental uncle's daughter. And then you would have your parental uncle's daughter. Okay. Hold on. We'll come back to the Flaunal side of things here for a moment. Parental Aunt's son. Parental uncle's son. And yeah, that's yeah, okay. Older parental uncle's son. And then the younger version. This is going to be an absurd amount of terminology. This is an actually absurd amount of terms just to describe family. This is... And the thing is, like, okay, admittedly we're looking at a lot of, like, redundant drawing things here, let's be honest. I'll clean this up, probably off stream. Yeah, I think I should probably just not write in all of these, because I don't need to write in all of these. Now, however, for the Flaunal side, I do need to write in a fair number, so... Parental Aunts. Is Parental Aunts. Oldest child. And I think we'll just have ones for their other for other children. So let's just clear the air here and just not write into all of these. That'll help things be a little bit clearer. So we have the parental uncles, oldest child, and then the other children. And we might have terminology for meaning like the first Flaunal child, the second Flaunal child, the third Flaunal child. We might go into that sort of terminology, and that might also influence like the terms you use with your siblings as well. If we do, I'm not going to write that out right now. Okay. Older parental uncles, oldest child, older parental uncle's child, doing the same thing for younger. And there we have it. So, for your cousins from just your parental side, you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 potential or 16 different terms that you'll have that you learn to describe cousins from one side of your family, of your 3 sides of your family, and this will replay out in the other 2 families as well. But rather than parental aunt, it would be maternal aunt or paternal aunt. I just realized parental and paternal look very similar at a glance. This is going to make things even more confusing. Woo! Okay. I think we get the idea here. I'm going to call it here for the stream today, since I try to keep things about an hour and I realize I've gone a little bit over my time. I'm going to work more of this off stream. I will clean it up and I will present a nice unified version of this come Wednesday at 11 a.m. Eastern. I will see y'all then. If you would wish to see me more, I'm going to take a break from this for a moment and play some games over on Twitch. In probably about 20 or so minutes, I'll be hopping on over there. So feel free to join me over there. In the meantime, thank you everyone who joined in. Hope you'll have a wonderful rest of your day and enjoy. Thank you all for stopping by. Bye.